everyone. We
Hello.
are live. Welcome to the not after party. I mean, I guess it could be considered what we'll call it an after party holiday special, like they do with the Marvel holiday specials. Anyway, I've invited a few people, but today, right now, as of this moment, we have two fantastic people joining me. We have Andy from the Flash podcast over here. And a longtime supporter, Kata, is in the building. So thank you for being here with us on the stream. Let me put up that little banner that reminds people to be generous, especially because it is the holidays. We have some Team Eric members in the chat. I'd like to give a shout out to first. We have Laura. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Of course, Kata. Thomas Scott is in the building. We also have B. Allen Hart. Good to see you, B. Allen. We have Robert Blake. AKA Darth Bunyan, which we have to do a stream together at some point because I know you've been jumping on people's streams. Cal Roswell in the house. Good to see you. And we have some Arrowverse people in here. Give shout outs to Ben 10 Big. Justin is in the house. Hero's Journey. We also have Ragu here. Willish World. Staggervore. Malik. Abdi. PB&J. Actually, I love PB&Js, but that might be an American thing. I don't know. Let's see. And Twinkie in the building. Hello. So this is going to be an unorthodox stream. This is kind of a holiday stream. I've just got a few things we can talk about, and then we're going to just answer questions from the chat. If you feel like super chatting, please feel free to do so. I don't know if you guys saw my Twitch stream, but I have a weird thing coming up at the end of January. The club that I work at primarily is moving into a new renovated space. The old building is going to be demolished because the new owners of that place, of the building itself, want to tear it down and make storage.
They don't want to be discovered by your job.
Yeah, they don't want me to work. That's what it is. They don't want me to make money.
David Zaslav, punk.
Yeah. So we're moving into a new location. No, it's a good move because the building has been renovated. It's going to be really nice, but I'm going to be out of work for like 3 to 4 weeks. So it's going to be a really weird beginning of the year for me. I'm like, it's probably the worst time for a business to move because you go out and you spend money. If you're doing stuff for your family, you spend all this money on the holidays and then you have to pay it back at the beginning of the year. It's like worst time ever for like income to be stifled. So hopefully people feel generous this year and can help me out so that I'm not living on the streets and podcasting from an alleyway somewhere in Vancouver where the Flash is.
Didn't this happen before? Your old club turned into a parking lot or something?
No, that was the same thing. So let me tell you, are we ready for a quick story time? Ready for
go ahead.
Okay,
so get around, everyone. It's time for DJ Air's beloved Christmas special.
Over a year ago, the original owners of the complex, where it's like restaurants and daycares, all kinds of stuff in this complex, they sold that building to a new owner. And the new owner didn't want to find new tenants because of COVID. A lot of those businesses shut down and never came back. So it was a lot of vacant storefronts in this facility. So the only places left were the club that I work at, which is very popular. There's a Little Caesars Pizza, which survived through COVID. I don't know. Do you have Little Caesars where you guys are? Little Caesars Pizza?
I don't think so. In Japan, we got Pizza Hut. We heard your Pizza Hut story.
We have some Pizza Hut over here.
Okay, so Little Caesars. This is an adjacent story time. Little Caesars in the United States is the kings of cheap fast food pizza because they have what they call hot and ready pizzas. Like you can go in there and for like $6, you can get a large pizza. And it's like ready, like you go in, you buy it, and you walk out with it. Yeah. So yeah, basically. So yeah, they're known for that. They're not good pizzas. I want to put that out there. You get what you pay for, but if you're hungry and you're in a hurry, they have it ready. Anyway, that's the only other thing in the shopping center besides another small restaurant in the corner. So the new owners are like, hey, we don't want to like look for anybody else. We want to turn it into a storage facility. But the problem is it's in an entertainment district. And so the city did not want to approve a storage facility like in the middle of like all these other like entertainment places. So they had to jump through a bunch of hoops with the city to get them to allow them to like turn it into something else. And so they finally reached some sort of an agreement. I have no idea what the agreement is. But the owners of the club that are leasing have till February to move into the new location, which the new location is right around the corner. It's a really nice spot. It's in a better area and it's going to be better overall. But for like maybe 3 to 4 weeks. I won't be working there, which isn't the end of everything. You know what that means? More content for me online. So you guys are going to see me a lot over those like 4 weeks, whether you want to see me or not. Different color beard, multiple times a day. We're going to go from red to green to purple to blue, all in one day's time. That's what's going to happen.
24-hour stream with DJ Egg.
Yeah. I'll be on Twitch, and then I'll be over here.
Stream, right? Coming up.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of a like Merry Christmas, you're out of work for 4 weeks. So that's the way it is. But look, I really haven't had a vacation. I don't know about you guys, but I really haven't had a proper vacation since COVID started. Like back in 2020, I was out of work. Obviously, a lot of people were out of work, but we were stuck at home. So I haven't had like a proper vacation since then. So I am going to take advantage of some of that time to like go somewhere and just do something, like whether it's go to like a cabin for a couple days, go to like the museums in Washington, DC, something productive to get out of the house. So there we go. They have, Jasmine says they have Little Caesars in California. I think it's pretty much everywhere in the United States. I think pretty much. Anyway, what are your plans for the holidays? Are you guys doing anything exciting? Because I know for some people it's already Christmas, and if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. For some people it's Christmas Eve. Some people don't even celebrate Christmas, and if you don't celebrate Christmas, enjoy your weekend, I guess, or whatever your holiday is. Do you guys have any plans? Is there anything going on in your lives for this holiday right now?
It's actually the 25th. It's actually Christmas already for us. And actually in Japan, for some reason, the 24th is the special day for some reason, and it's not the 25th. So we celebrate the 24th. But yeah, I'm about to go out in like an hour and we see some friends and stuff like that. But also the New Year's is also a big thing. So that's probably like the biggest one.
Okay.
But I don't have plans yet for New Year's. But
I'm working New Year's as a DJ. I've only ever had one New Year's off in the last 25 years. Yeah, I always work at the club and I count down at the end and play Auld Lang Syne. What about you, Andy? Anything exciting going on in your world for the holidays?
My sister came home a couple of days ago, so I was actually over at their place today. Gonna be back there tomorrow for Christmas Day, playing with the dog, my little dog niece. So we actually had good food, and then we both just crashed. And my sister.
I saw your tweet. Yeah, that was a cute picture.
Yeah, she's adorable, and so yeah, we're just gonna hang, open presents. I'm probably gonna get my mom to finish Miss Marvel because she my mom doesn't really do the superhero stuff, even though ironically she's the one who introduced me to a lot of superhero things as a kid, because she was like, oh, I saw Lois and Clark when I was on, I remember the Wonder Woman show and all that. But during my birthday, she was like, can we like binge Miss Marvel? I'm like,
oh yeah, I love that
show. Are you on crack? Like you've never wanted to binge watch anything, yet let alone a Marvel show. He's like, no, I heard it's about like a Middle Eastern Muslim girl, and I'm like, okay, let's do it. So we have 2 more episodes to finish, and then for us it's just like downtime because we're all so busy, and I haven't had a day off since the week I was supposed to go to Comic-Con, but all my the flights got canceled and stuff like that. So that's the only week I had any free time. Otherwise, I've been working and being at school throughout the whole fall. So it's, when I tell people that I sleep sometimes like 16 hours a week, I don't joke.
Right.
So
Laura's spending Christmas with family. Cal is also doing family stuff here. B. Allen, that's the thing. In the United States right now, it is bad for the next like 12 to 14 hours, I think, before things start to turn around. It's really, really cold in most of the United States at this moment. So last night, there's no precipitation. Say it. I couldn't say it. No, there's been no rain or anything like that in my area, but in some parts of the country there has been. But here it's very dry. So it's dry and it's cold, but it's very windy and people are losing power. And it's because the wind's knocking out some people that don't have underground electric, because I think most of the city that I'm in has above ground electricity, whereas there's some places where they do like the lines under the ground, which I think are better, but it is what it is, I guess. Let's see. Thomas is on annual leave for 17 days. Something I don't think America has. No, America wants you to work and work and work and work and work. Thomas says Netflix is getting rid of password sharing, thinking they'll get more subs. I think it's a bad idea. I think they believe people will go, hey, I don't have access to my friend's Netflix, so I'm going to pay for my own Netflix. That is simply not the case. Most of the people I know are just okay with not having Netflix. So I don't know. Do y'all pay for Netflix, or do you share passwords?
I mean, my friends do. Even in Japan, like someone's in America that has it, and then someone's sharing in Japan.
Yeah.
They do that. So I mean, but I don't know. Is that just the United States that it's going to affect, or is it?
It's everywhere, I believe. I think it's everywhere, as far as I know.
Yeah, I got my own Netflix account. So although I don't know if the thing is, I feel like they've been saying this for years, and then they don't do it. But then they say we're gonna do it at X time, and they don't do it. So Netflix, take Netflix, I guess.
Maddie, I don't know why you didn't get a notification either. By the way, anyone who's in here, if you don't have the bell turned on, I know it's not perfect. It doesn't work all the time. But if you turn the bell on, you'll always get a notification for when I go live. It might be late, but it will come through at some point. YouTube's going to YouTube at the end of the day. So let's see. Zachary Levi's recent statements about Zack Snyder and the DCEU. I feel like it's being overblown a little bit.
Yeah, it is.
I think Zachary was specifically talking about his opinion on the products that he's making and his role in the future of DCU. But everybody gets like hyper offended by the Snyder stuff. The reality is that Zack Snyder isn't in the picture for the future of the DCU right now. As far as I know. So yeah, what's up, Andy?
What did Zachary say? Because I was like out yesterday in my apartment. So what have I missed?
It's a long video. I can't say all of it, but basically he was saying that as far as he knows, his future in the DCU is good. He's focused on being an actor and putting out his movies, and he thinks that his movie is going to be even better than the first movie. And if you didn't like the first movie, give the second movie a shot because he thinks it's going to be really good. And that not everything has to be dark and gritty. It can be funny. It can be, serious when it has to be, and silly when it needs to be. Basically, just sort of defending James Gunn and Peter Safran's future for the DCU. And I talked about a bit on this on Twitch. Shout out to my Twitch, twitch.tv/xreloaded. I talked a little bit about this over there. And I said, the reality is that, and I did a video on this as well, that the idea of X and Y equaling Z when it comes to fans and Snyder and money it's a false thing in the world of DC. Like all the Snyder fans who are, and I'm not talking about like people that just like Snyder stuff. I'm talking about the very adamantly like aggressive Snyder fans want to believe that he's such a huge money-making machine for DC, and he was not. His movies.
I will defend and say BVS and Man of Steel. Like I think those are like good success. They're not $1 billion successes, which I understand is what we're looking for. But like Justice League, the one that came in 2017, which I put most of the blame on a different director.
It should be on a different director.
That is a huge red flag if a Justice League movie can't even pull in that. But did Zach really say something specific about Zack Snyder?
He used the word injustice, and so everybody thought that he was talking about the Injustice comic and video game, and so they went off on him there. They thought the fact that he was poking fun at Dark and Gritty was him talking about Snyder when he never even really mentioned Snyder.
And he also said that, can I say this word? TSS, the squad,
go ahead. Yeah.
Suicide Squad. He said that the second one, which was made by Gunn, and he said he was talking about, he was praising all of that. So some people were taking it as he was dissing the air version. In the air cut, people were kind of getting offended as well.
Yeah. Speaking back about what you were saying, Andy, though, there was a whole article done. Gosh, I can't remember who wrote it now. It was a great article though, and I made a video on it. But they were talking about like adjusted for inflation from like release till now, and in the top 25 movies, the only one that was actually a Snyder movie that made any money, I believe, if I'm remembering this correctly, was BVS.
Yeah,
BVS was the only one that actually made a profit for the studio. The other Snyder stuff broke even, but adjusted for inflation, it doesn't even rank in the top 25. So the studio, my point being is that the studio doesn't see his vision as a big deal, because if the other movies that were in the top 25 were like Wonder Woman and Aquaman, and movies that were not directed by him, even though he had some control over like casting and things like that. They weren't his movies. And so I thought for the future of the DC franchise, could they offer Snyder something down the road? I mean, anything's a possibility, but I don't know if his vision is what they want. And I will stand by this. The only reason the Snyder cut of Justice League came out is because HBO Max needed content that early in their lifetime, and the content was already basically there and just needed to be put together with a little bit of reshoots. And there wasn't a lot. If you remember back to 2020, there was nothing on HBO. HBO Max was basically just putting out very little content.
Yeah.
Which is why once they started doing the day in day release of theaters and movies, the Snyder Cut became something they just stopped even promoting. They weren't even really talking about it. But I will say this, the Snyder Cut is a billion times better than the theatrical release. Like, it's so much better. And I still believe that Ray Fisher should have gotten a Cyborg solo movie based on what we saw in the Snyder Cut. And you know, as problematic as he is for a lot of people and the stuff that he says, I still believe he was the best part of the Snyder Cut movie. And I still think that that should have been like an hour and 45-minute Cyborg movie that could have happened before the Justice
League. Like a HBO Max like limited series or something. Because my stance on it, because everyone, I mean, I'm sure we have crossing over audiences, you know, people watch Millennials Multiverse or Flashpoint because they know that I'm a huge Snyderverse fan. I always supported the movement. Do I support people who are being harassing and rude and toxic? Absolutely not. In my world, I do not consider them true Snyder fans. I consider them as something completely different. But what I will always say is that even if the Zack Snyder stuff didn't always do what the Warner Bros. Wanted, I still think the way he was treated by the studio is despicable. Like, especially what happened in Justice League, you know, when, you know, the tragedy happened in his family. And I know this week was, I saw the Ray Fisher stuff, and I can both understand where he's coming from. Both at the same time, like, this isn't the battle to pick necessary right now, but as a man of color, I understand the pain that he's going through. I saw someone was like joking in the chat, like, "Oh, I want for Christmas for Andy to admit that Ray Fisher's a liar." I'm like, "No."
I did see that,
yeah, and you won't get it, you know. I will put stones in your Christmas sock instead, but I will never say that Ray Fisher's a liar because he's not.
So the one thing I think that looks bad in this particular situation is that he went on what I believe was bad information. I think someone told him about the deleted James Gunn tweet, and then he just kind of, because I don't think Ray Fisher, I'm not saying he's not, you know, I don't know what his schedule is, but I don't think he's like scouring through his old tweets to find stuff. Like, I just don't believe that. So I think someone told him that James did that, and then he took the screenshots, he made the tweet, and didn't bother to like check, because most people don't automatically delete their tweets. It's not something that people usually do. So he went based off of that information. That's what I think happened. I don't know if that's totally the situation, but I will say it still looks bad for him because James has already addressed this like more than once over the last 6 months about his tweets. And also, go ahead.
Good. I mean, he could have just said, "My bad. Sorry about that. I didn't know that it automatically deletes."
Right, but it's been silence. It's been radio silence.
Yeah,
unless they've talked over DM, because that's why I wish. You know, and that's the thing. I think people need to stop using Twitter as a drama platform. Like, if you guys have issues with each other, take it behind closed doors. Call each other. Do a Zoom. Pop on a stream. I don't even know if they know.
Well, I mean, the thing is that that's what Ray does. I mean, no offense to him. Everything that he posts about people becomes targeted. It's like, he doesn't just talk about his perspective. He literally goes after people.
I think the previous ones has been completely justified because.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like, hey, what's up, Omega?
What's up?
Yeah, I'm talking specifically about this situation because even though he may have been correct before, if you make a mistake, you have to apologize for it. Like, I feel like you have to say something, even if he's hashed it out with James Gunn, or delete the tweet. Like, the tweet is still up, and I'm like. No. It just makes him look bad. And I'm not a Ray Fisher hater, but I'm also not a Ray Fisher stan. Like, I simply look at each individual thing. And I just think in this moment, James didn't do anything. And Ray went after him. Like, James has not done anything to Ray Fisher.
Oh,
zero.
On that part.
If anybody can point me to some situation where James has offended him, because the last interaction they had was Ray thanking James for being a stand-up guy, and then this. So unless something else has happened between now and then, it was a unprovoked attack on James Gunn. That's the only issue I have with it. But Ray has, and I've said this before, and you can go back and look at all of my old after parties. There's no way that everything Ray has said about what his experience was is a lie. There's no way that's the case. We may not know everything that has happened. Maybe there was a different perspective. Maybe he saw things differently, but those were his experiences. And I think it's wrong to say that the things he experienced were a lie when we don't know. But in this instance, he just attacked James, which I thought was really weird because James didn't do anything. He's simply trying to run the studio.
Yeah, I thought that was weird how he just came out against that dude. It was like, what did he do to him? It was like
nothing.
James Gunn wasn't even part of that whole thing with
it was kind of random, unless and we got you guys here in the chat, and I've got some stuff highlighted. We're going to talk about that in a second, and we'll move on from this because I think this is kind of aggressive to just keep going back to it. But I didn't see James do anything to affect Ray. Am I wrong there, or was there something that happened? Because I didn't see anything.
Now, from what I read, it was mostly about how Gunn didn't really apologize for what happened to Fisher, but Gunn wasn't a part of anything that happened to Fisher. No. That was all what was it?
Walter Hamada and all the people over at DC.
Yeah, that was all them.
And all those people are gone.
Yeah,
all of them are gone.
Yeah, Gunn had nothing to do with that. So it's kind of I mean. Even if Gunn would have said something like, okay, yeah, that was messed up, I guess, but he didn't have to say anything. He wasn't a part of that at all.
I think he was offended by the fact that the apology tweet was deleted. So he thought that it was like taking back the apology or something.
Which is why I wish he would have just double checked because it's very simple.
Well, I will say that I didn't even know until because I'd seen the tweet, but someone had pointed out to me, well, James has said before that he has his auto tweets, and tweets now automatically deleted, which, after what happened a couple years ago with him, I understand why he.
No, that's exactly it, Andy. That's why they're doing that. That's why why that exists.
But but I was like, oh, okay, but then maybe Ray didn't know because if I didn't know it, like, who would? I mean, how would someone come to the conclusion? Let me Google James Gunn talking about deleted tweets. Like, not necessarily. I don't think that's the jump people would do instantly. So I can understand, like, if I see that, that apologies now.
But would you attack first, or would you direct message someone first?
Of course I would direct message first.
So that's my point. It was a public attack on James for nothing. And that's my issue. Like, I have no problem with someone contacting someone directly. Like, for example, Andy and I have had issues with stuff privately, and we've always talked about it privately. It's never been a public issue.
He stole all of the frames that are behind you guys. He's like, he just broke in here, climbed up my balcony, and just took them. Like, this one right here.
I typically nip it in the bud. The issue is I think a lot of people that already have an issue with Ray saw this and it just doesn't help him at all.
Yeah, I get being mad at WB Studios, but get mad at the right people. Yeah, get mad at the right people.
Well, you know what? I did have a theory, and this is theory. Do not go looking for this article. Do not write this in a blog. But my concern was, what if? Oh gosh, I can't believe I said this on Twitch. I can't believe I'm saying it over here. What if Ray approached James about coming back as Cyborg and they shut him down, and then that came out? That was my thought. Was maybe something happened behind the scenes that we're not aware of, because that does happen a lot.
I doubt it.
Ray Fisher.
I think his manager or agents and all that would highly, either they would have highly advised him to not tweet it, or they would have made sure this tweet would have been deleted by now, because it's so normal these days. Like, you have meetings, you meet a director, producer. Sometimes thing doesn't always work out, and and there doesn't have to be like a malice reason for it.
I totally agree. All right, this is the last thing we're going to talk about. Ray, is Ray even acting anymore? Yes, he is still acting. He's booked and blessed and doing stuff. So he's going to be in that Rebel Moon thing from Zack Snyder. So as far as I know, he's still doing what he's doing.
He's doing theater again, I think, also.
Yeah. So, good luck to him. I don't wish any kind of ill will on him or anything like that. All right. We had, where is it at? Staggervore here with a $4.99 super chat says, and I totally feel him on this. I feel bad for whoever gets cast as Superman next, because they're going to face heat from loyal Henry Cavill fans. Yeah, I don't think there's any way the new actor for I mean, look at what Tyler deals with.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way the person that comes in, and Tyler's not even replacing Henry. Think about this. Tyler's Superman is completely adjacent to Henry's and never affected Henry whatsoever. I can only imagine what's going to happen to the actor who actually comes in to replace Henry as the DC film Superman.
Henry got this when because he was the next Superman after Tom Welling, so like, and he had been playing Clark for 10 years, so like Henry had to take similar crap. Sadly, it is what happened. I think in a lot of major IP castings when the next Ben Affleck took it after Christian Bale finished being Batman, Joaquin Phoenix probably got crap too, and and it's like this. Sadly, this happens in this culture, I'm not proud of it. I hate it, but but it happens. So
you're gonna be judged by the last guy's performance, and it's kind of like, how are you gonna fill those shoes? Because if you ask me, Cavill was the best Superman since Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, I mean, also Batman, Robert Pattinson got a lot of backlash, and then because of the Twilight, people only knew him from Twilight, but actually, when you got to see him, he was a kick-ass Batman.
Yeah.
Do you think we're I don't even know the word for this. Do you think we're Batman numb at this point because we've had so many of them? Like anybody can be Batman.
I am very Batman numb.
Like if they came out tomorrow and said that somebody else was going to be Batman in another Elseworld movie, I think people would just be like,
I'm benumbed. I'm benumbed.
Yeah. I'm like, okay.
Let's see.
To me, Batman was Kevin Conroy. Rest in peace, bro.
Yeah. It's a lot of people.
I will say this though: the one thing I have excitement for with this new Batman in the DCU is the idea that we can now finally, because I don't know how fantastical or like Batman family oriented the Batman verse will be, but I do think that the one that James Gunn is putting together, I can see a bunch of Bat family members. I can see them doing like supernatural and sci-fi and metahuman villains like Clayface and stuff like that. And I can totally see that.
Good to see you, Quindolin, by the way.
I'd love to see a Clayface.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so Laura had an interesting comment here. Do you think that James Cameron waited too long for Avatar 2 because it's supposed to come out in 2017 originally? And
yes,
she also mentioned something about China. I do have some information on that. I just looked it up as well. What are your thoughts on this? And then we'll talk about the article. Anybody have any opinions on how long it took for Avatar 2? And do you think that's affecting its?
I honestly didn't see Avatar 2, but from what I've gathered, it's fine. It might have been too long from the previous film to come out, but that might have been an issue. But from what I'm hearing, it's fine. I might see it once it comes to the streaming services.
Yeah, and the China thing, I didn't even realize it was actually Tokyo that he was promoting all that stuff with SeaWorld and stuff like that. So in Japan, it's doing really, really well. Like a lot of people go and see it. But I'm not sure about China because China right now has that COVID problem. So I don't think people...
It's interesting you bring that up because that's what the article says, that the performance of Avatar 2 isn't necessarily bombing in China because people don't want to see it. It's because they're just emerging from this zero COVID policy or whatever.
It kind of had a revamp over there.
And the funny thing about Japan, it could have done better, but the theaters weren't equipped with the right equipment to show Avatar 2.
Oh.
And the fact that there was this anime movie that came out called Slam Dunk, which was like a big, huge. It was as big as Dragon Ball Z when it was out. So that's number one right now. It came out right at the same time. So it's not even number one. It's like number 3.
Oh,
but it's still doing really well. Yeah.
That's awesome. Andy, any thoughts on Have you seen Avatar 2? Because I seen it.
I never saw the first one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I saw the first one. I love the first one, but
there's a lot of controversy around Avatar because of the themes of the actual film. And we've said this from the beginning. The first Avatar was Fern Gully. I mean, it basically was Fern Gully. And it's got this idea of indigenous people where some advanced person comes into their culture and then saves their culture. That is basically it's a trope that gets used all the time. I'm not a big fan of it. But it's not something that's unique to Avatar. It happens in a lot of movies.
It happens a lot.
I kind of wish they would get away from that. I think it's kind of a boring, overused trope.
Agreed.
Maybe they will eventually. I don't know. It's Hollywood. It's whatever makes money is what they're going to do. This is an interesting comment from Thomas here. The real crime will be if Ezra is kept on after Flash.
Oh, dear God, yes.
Okay, we got 4 people here. We'll come to me last. I'm going to say it because I'm always in the hot seat whenever Paige is here. So I'm going to be last. Okay. What chances do you think there are if Ezra does not get any jail time that they will continue to use Ezra as the Flash in the new DCU, considering what James Gunn is doing right now? Do you think Ezra will be in the next Flash movie, or do you think they will be fired and replaced before the next Flash movie? We'll go this way. We'll go counterclockwise.
Okay.
Go ahead. Counterclockwise. That means
Andy. So it's Omega. Go.
Oh, okay. Shoot. I think they're going to be held on for some reason. I don't know. Look, the conspiracy theorists in me who, deal with the whole like Hollywood conspiracy theory thing, like how they're all demon worshippers and drink the blood of children and all that stuff. Maybe that being that he's doing this stuff, maybe that they're, okay, he's one of us, that they're going to keep him on if they're going to get jail time. I think so. But that's
all right.
I'm gonna go.
Kata, how do you follow that up? I don't know.
No way, no chance. They have no reason to go with him. There's a lot of baggage. I mean, they just want this movie, the Flash movie, to come out, and then as long as they can keep everything buried, whatever he did right now, I mean, they're doing a good job with it, because I kind of even forgot what Ezra did. Like it's not like. It's not offending me or anything. And if they're not bringing Henry Cavill and The Rock back and stuff, like why would you even need to bring any of these older actors from the Justice League back? So no chance. I think no chance.
Andy, you give the second to last opinions. I'll give my opinion after you. So
I mean, I think whether they get jail time or not, I think is irrelevant, because I think what Warner Bros. Is going to do is a lot of actors at Warner Bros. That I heard of they usually sign on for a free picture deal. So now let's count what Ezra's started in: BBS, Justice League, The Flash, The Suicide Squad. No,
the cameo in Suicide Squad, right?
Peacemaker.
Oh, yes. Well, technically. James Gunn, this is why I begged you not to call this Suicide Squad, because I was like, wait, was he in James Gunn's Suicide? And I'm like, no, the first one. Those two cameos are outside the contract, as far as I've been told. So I think what they're going to do, whether they get jail time or not, they're not going to extend Ezra's contract. And because of everything that James Gunn is doing right now, I don't see James and Peter Simon going, what we need? We need a person who was in the headlines pretty much every fucking week. Can I curse on this?
Yeah.
Every fucking week of 2022. Whether some of those things were true or not, it doesn't matter. It's just, this was too much. And I don't see this being a good thing for the Flash brand, because, and I said this continuously, and I said this on the Flash podcast many times, the Flash IP has gone up in value so much because of the TV show. And I don't want, and as they're going to continue that in the movies, I doubt that Warner Bros. Would be like, who would really help us make some more money on the Flash? That person who was in headlines for terrorizing Hawaii for several weeks in a row. So I think Ezra is definitely done. Whether they're going to say Ezra's getting fired or we are parting ways with Ezra, which, PR lingo, that's so cute. I think that Ezra is definitely done as the Flash.
Okay. I was going to say, I agree with pretty much everything except for the lizard people stuff.
Yeah. I'm so like a little...
Okay, so the big red flag for me, and this is why I think that Ezra is done for the Flash, is what other jobs has Ezra booked in the last 6 months?
One movie. He finished.
And there's nothing else like on the lineup for Ezra.
I can check their IMDb.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about like contractual stuff. So yeah, like things like he's actually contracted to do. So yeah,
I believe that right now Ezra is too volatile for the market. And the people go, oh well, controversy is good for business. It is sometimes, but not this controversy.
I didn't realize this. When you go to Ezra's Wikipedia page and you go to that see also part, list of Messiah claimants, list of people who claim to be Jesus, list of solved missing person cases.
Oh
damn.
Yeah. I think they're out. I think they're out after this.
Yeah, the last thing Ezra has, unless it's already been released, is a movie called Daddyland. I think that's it. So I am.
So Cullen Prime is a Team Eric member for 3 months. He goes, for me, it's going to be hard to replace Henry. Does anybody else feel that way? That just in general, it's going to be hard to replace Henry?
No, not really. They
Yeah,
can replace so they can find a new Superman. It's just he's going to have some pretty big shoes to fill.
Yeah,
and I'm sure Henry Cavill will be classy enough to support this new person too.
Yeah, I don't see Henry being toxic at all. And B. Allen Hart says Ezra is a liability, and that's exactly 100% true. Okay, so moving on.
Yes and no. I was going to say yes and no about the Henry thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's impossible to replace Henry. I think as long as I think what they need to do is not go for that for a huge Hollywood name, because I think the reason why Henry worked as well as he did was because people didn't know who much it was. But the thing of no, I don't think it will be easy necessarily in the beginning, because there will be the social media presence, but otherwise eventually that will go away. Once they picture Superman, they film the movie, and if that actor is beloved, that's their victory. They will take a V for that.
So I want to bring this up because I think it's good to also tell people when something has been 1000% debunked, because I think it's very important. So this article came out earlier in the week. I discussed it over at twitch.tv/xrelated.
Go follow now.
There. So yeah. And even back then I said this is probably not this. Just take all of this with a grain of salt, because it's probably not true. We were reading the article and I was like, there's no way. All right. So let's close that. And I'm going to show you what happens now when you go to that page where the article was, because I double checked it today. And this is what's there now. This is what's on that page, the link to that article. And as you can see, that is what shows up. So the article has been deleted from their site. If you follow the link from any article that is citing Jezebel.
What's Jezebel?
It's a blog. It's a blog site.
And okay.
Wait, it says you need to be a member of the blog.
right. But that's not it. Also, there's there's a mirrored, like if you go to, I always do my research, people. You have to realize I always double check and triple check everything. If you go there through the back door, this is what you see. This is their actual server thread. And you can see the comments from the actual article, right? But the article is gone from there as well. So they completely scrubbed it. It's 100% gone. And the reason why this is so dangerous is they didn't change the article to say, this is not true. All this information is proven false or whatever. They deleted it while a bunch of other outlets picked it up and ran with it. And then they did not come back and recant anything that they said about him. So that's pretty shady. Honestly.
Yeah, we because this was brought up actually on this week's Flash podcast episode, which I said this there as well, that I needed people to remember, is that because I never heard of this website, but I know what they're talking about. It's a podcast, that's something I come in from. I looked it up and I'm like, it's a gossip podcast, and this could be so false. Now I will say this: if you're asking me professionally, I do think there were definitely issues on both sides. I think about how to frame this, how to word this, because I don't want to get in trouble. I think there were problems on both sides, but the way that gossip podcast was framing it, bruh, I read better fan fiction than that.
Yeah.
It just seems so over the top. I'm like, okay, because if that was true, why did Netflix bring him back for Enola?
Exactly, and Enola 2, and they're planning on an Enola 3. That was the big red flag. I even said that on Twitch. I was like, why would he still be associated with productions at Netflix if he was toxic?
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense.
I do think there were issues on both sides, but I don't see it in the way that they did it, the way that Henry was described as in that gossip post. And it's like when it's someone anonymous can just send it. Here's the thing: I understand that there are. Again, this is me trying to say it right, because I don't want to get in trouble. Okay. these kind of things do happen on sets and on crews and on writers' rooms and stuff like that. And so, and people will like sometimes the only way they can get this truth out is that they will have something to submit anonymously.
Right.
But let's also no, my life is not on the line right now, Maddie. No, it's not. But I mean, I have to be careful because I don't know who's watching me sometimes.
Right.
But what I will say, let's look at the timing of when this came out. We just had him depart as Superman, and then barely a week later, this podcast is just like listing of all these things. So sometimes there will be people out there that will be opportunistic and twist situations. So now, again, I do think there were issues on both sides, but not to this degree. Right. And because if the showrunner wanted to, if the showrunner really wanted to, she could have come out now and said, yeah, we fired that boy because he was toxic AF. No, it's like, and if that was a problem on season 1 already, they would have got rid of him by season 2 and 3 because Netflix they don't fuck around.
They have no reason to. They cancel shows if they're underperforming. Like they are cutthroat. They totally are.
Yeah.
So anyway, just know moving forward, I will always follow up on a story if I find out that the information was wrong, whether it's in a live stream or a separate video. I don't like to leave that kind of stuff out there simply for clicks, which is why I didn't make a video about it. I'm pretty sure some people did. Like specifically made a video about it.
Oh, they did headlines and videos and TikToks and podcasts
I was like,
and stuff.
Even on my Twitch, I was like, I'm talking about it here, but I'm not going to clip this into a video. And I didn't because I was like, I want to wait for more information. All right, Gwendolyn's with the $4.99 super chat and a Team Eric member. Thank you so much, Gwendolyn. I don't want another Superman reboot. I'd rather than make the movies on lesser known heroes so they shine, do a Marvel thing.
Yeah,
like
fair enough.
Iron Man. I've said this for a while.
Yeah.
Guys, like, do you agree? I feel like we've had the big three. So this is why I said we're Batman numb at this point.
Yeah.
We've had the big three so much, lesser of Wonder Woman, but a lot of Superman, a lot of Batman, even if it's not been in films, because I know it's been a while with the Superman thing. But like Blue Beetle, I'm looking forward to Blue Beetle. I can't wait to see that movie. Yeah. I would love to see a lot of these like legacy characters get some films, but DC can't get their shit together. So we end up redoing everything over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's been Batman, Superman, Batman. It's like, I'm sick of Batman. I like Batman, but dear God, I am just...
Whoa. Hold on. Oh my God. You don't like? Are you saying you're tired of Batman? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, I am very tired of Batman. I like Batman, but dear God, it's fatigue.
Are there any lesser known characters that you guys would like to see
Dr.
come
Fate,
out?
Because I like magic and stuff. Because
I get that.
See who else?
I will say this:
Firestorm is interesting.
Yeah, when they don't kill
the
them.
Titans.
Yeah, and James Gunn has the ability to do that because, Guardians of the Galaxy, these a ragtag group of people who nobody knew, and people
love Ratcatcher. He made people love Ratcatcher and Suicide Squad too.
Yeah, nobody knew about the Guardians of the Galaxy. This is one of my favorite Marvel movies.
I will give this a little nugget because I'm in the holiday spirit. There's a script I read for a movie based on a DC character that was almost was going to have their film. That I'm like, how in the name of fuck has Warner Bros. Not gone through with this? I hope one day it does happen, and I can finally say this was it. There's so much good cool shit, but yeah, there's a lesser known DC character for a script that I read that I was like, oh my fucking God, like this studio is so fucking dumb. They're not doing this. But I agree. Something James Gunn does really well is he takes smaller characters or more obscure characters and he reinvents them. Like again, who the fuck thought that Peacemaker was going to be something that people actually like?
Exactly. I love Peacemaker.
Now I will admit, I'm guilty as charged. I mainly watch the show because I think John Cena is hot. But damn it, when Eagly hugged him, I was sitting there on the floor sobbing. I was like, this is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. So what I'm saying is that I would love to see James Gunn. I think this is definitely part of his plan. Like I love like he's teased like Mr. Terrific, for example. Like that would be great. Like if they continue with the JSA somehow from Black Adam, like Mr. Terrific could appear there. We can meet the Leo.
Actually liked that JSA, but I feel like they need to be more fleshed out. That's my
much more fleshed out. And I think because the big debate here is are they doing a full on reboot or a soft reboot? I think it's somewhere in the middle. And I think that if they're taking in anything that has worked from the DC EU, I think it would be great to see that JSA get to be fleshed out. Again, I've been saying this for years. That needs to be a show on HBO Max, whether the fuck you're gonna call that streaming service next year and do because Star will prove it. JSA works on television. People want to know about these legacy characters, and that you can do Mr. Terrific. You can bring in Hawk Girl. You can bring in. It's a toss up. But Vigilante could definitely chase me for a wood if he wanted me to. If he wanted to.
All right, we have a couple comments here from Team Eric members. Let's jump over to those before we answer the next couple super chats. Laura E says, how much of Ezra will be in the trailer? I suspect it's going to be just as much as we got in the original Flash trailer, probably. It is their movie. So I suspect they're going to get a lot of screen time. I mean, how can you not? I mean, they're playing at least two characters in the film.
Yeah, they are the star of the movie, so it's kind of they're going to be pretty prominent.
Yeah, I remember there was I think it was like a Black Adam trailer where they were using like footage of other Justice League heroes, but whenever they used Ezra's Flash, this was so funny. I shouldn't be laughing, but like they use a shot of Flash when you just see Ezra from the behind running across the field. I'm like, that was probably not random picks at all.
No, was he actually running, or was he doing that weird Nordic track run that he did in the freaking Snyderverse? Like, god, I hated that.
Well, I like the run in the Snyderverse. It's in the Justice cut that I'm just like, what is Barry doing here?
We have another member chat from Anthony Beltry, and this one is something I don't have a lot of information on, but Andy, I think is probably something he can't say, but is the Jon Stewart show still happening? And
yes.
Okay. So I was going to say, I don't know if you could confirm.
Yes, I can say,
not,
I can confirm it because I was talking to HBO Max just a couple of days ago about it, and they said nothing has changed on that. So whatever, I did see that little cute tweet from some random account, and I'm like,
he's one of my favorite Green Lanterns.
Yeah, I cannot wait. Even I think it's sad because I had friends who worked on the show when it was under the different showrunner. I'm sad that their work will not be seen because that was 8 scripts that are now just being thrown up because David Zaslav loves tax write-downs. I bet that the IRS and David Zaslav are like best friends. They're like, "What's up, DC? What you doing?" But I cannot wait now to see what new creative Greg Blaney will bring in to lead that Jon Stewart show. And I'm not hinting at anything. This is just my theory. For legal disclaimer, I think it would be cool if the way we meet the Green Lanterns in the James Gunn DCU is like Jon Stewart's show is part of that somehow.
Right. Okay.
Because he was my Green Lantern growing up. Like he was
same here.
I would say that's what I was saying. I don't remember where I said this, but I was like, because of the animated Justice League, he became extremely popular. So I actually think he was more popular in the cartoon than he was in the comics, to be honest. But which is fine. DC's animation's always been
shout out to Phil Lamar, who's his voice actor. He plays in a lot of different stuff.
Phil Lamar should play Jon Stewart's dad.
Oh god, yes.
Oh gosh, that would be great. Thomas Scott with a £5 super chat. He goes, do you think people would get mad if Gunn moved Superman and Lois onto Discovery streaming service but got rid of Cavill? I hope it does move to it. So there would be, I'm saying this knowing how the internet is. Yes, there would be people that would be mad about that because they would feel like it's paying favoritism. But I do believe that if Superman and Lois is going to survive, it's not going to be on the CW. It'll be somewhere else because I just don't see in 2024 the CW putting out the same shows they're putting out right now. I feel like it's going to be a very different network. I don't know. Is that so? Should I feel that way? Do you guys get that vibe from any of the Arrowverse or DC shows on the CW? I just don't feel like they're in it to win it with the DC shows, honestly. Yep. Anybody else feel that way, or am I the only one?
No, you're not alone.
Yeah, it's just expensive. That's the only problem. I think that they might get rid of it because it's expensive.
Yeah. It's sad. I mean, like, because if you think about it, we were eating good, everybody. Like 5 years ago, it was the peak of the Arrowverse. We had our cake. We were eating it too. We had crossovers that were better than movies. I mean, we just had some really good. I will keep saying this until the movies prove me wrong. Some of the Arrowverse crossovers were the best live action DC stuff that we ever had.
Yeah, I really didn't watch a lot of that stuff, but I was like, maybe I should start watching that stuff. And then this stuff started happening.
Crisis on Earth X jumps out as me as being one of the best. I think Crisis on Earth X was really good. I enjoyed Elseworlds. I know some people say that.
I love Elseworlds.
Elseworlds was fun. Crisis on Infinite Earths was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was okay. I know it's not an official crossover, but Armageddon was really fucking good too. I loved Armageddon on last season of The Flash. So I it's really sad to think as fans we had more. So put it this way, I had more content in the Arrowverse to talk about than I had time to cover on my channel. That's how much we had. There were weeks where I had to choose what show I was going to review because there wasn't enough time to review everything. And now we're down to, I guess I'll review anything at this point, which really sucks. And, I've noticed also Doom Patrol is getting a lot less trendy on social media. I don't know if that's because the show's just not resonating with people or maybe
it's coming at a
HBO
weird
Max.
time. I think it's coming at a weird time. I feel Doom Patrol honestly is a summer show. But why would Warner Bros. Listen to a good idea? Like look what they've done in the last couple of years. I think Doom Patrol it still holds up. I've seen the first part of season 9. I think I still think that they should do a season 5. And I think because it gets so critically acclaimed, I could see it happening.
Right.
But maybe some budget cuts because DZ, he loves his own some big Benjis. I feel so old for saying that. I think it's just the awkward timing. And I also think because Titans was just there was so much because if you look at it from the fandom standpoint, Doom Patrol is very blocked off. They don't you don't get a lot of leaks with Doom Patrol.
Right.
With Titans, there's a shit ton of things because they film in Toronto in a lot of public spaces.
Doom Patrol films in Atlanta, doesn't it?
In Atlanta, yeah, exactly. And they have that's the similar situation to Black Lightning, where we barely would. I don't remember ever seeing set photos from Black Lightning, and so Atlanta is like that. They have things closed off there for really, really good.
And I think Doom Patrol, from what I've seen this season, they film way out. They're not filming in central city areas. It's like Central City. They're not filming in central city areas. They're filming out in rural areas, basically.
Yeah, I have a friend who lives close to where they filmed season 1, and this year he was like, I think they're outsourcing this year. They're going to they're not so much in the city. They're not so much in the local part of Atlanta. So
yeah. And you guys have anything to add for Doom Patrol? You've been watching Doom Patrol, Kata?
Yeah. I've been watching. It's always hit or miss. Some of them, some people love. I love the first episode, first and second, and then third, fourth is kind of meh. It was
kind of weird. I agree. I think this week was
hard to understand.
This week was fun, but it was so disconnected from the rest of the show. I know it's
kind of a backdoor pilot.
Yeah,
it felt like a back. I had to ask one of my friends who work on the show, hey, listen, are y'all working on something secret here? Because this felt like a backdoor pilot.
Yeah, it did. Definitely did. Thomas here with a £2 super chat. Any casting ideas for a younger Superman? I don't typically fan cast, but I'll throw it out to you guys. Anybody have any fan casting for?
Somebody in the chat mentioned Tom Holland as a young Superman. I'm like, you know what? That would be good, but I think he's doing enough stuff already.
He's busy. Andy?
Cameron Cuff from Krypton.
Oh.
That dude, first of all, he is an absolute sweetheart. I've talked to him several times, and he is a massive Superman DC fan. And just what he did with Sega, it's so much I can understand how the House of L legacy is so. I think it comes so much from Sega, at least in that mythology. So I think Cameron would, and he kind of looked a lot like Henry Cavill. So but he's also young. He and I were the same age. We were born the same year. He's just successful where I am not, but he would be amazing as Superman. So I don't think he's been doing a lot of things. Maybe it's because of the pandemic, but Cameron Cuff, I would kill for Cameron Welsh to get to do so. If it was up to me, he and James Gunn would be writing a Superman movie together. But Cameron Cuff, he would be amazing.
Isn't this too much on the nose though? Because he basically played the Superman equivalent in Eternal.
I've heard a lot of people say David Cornsweet.
Yeah, from House of Cards, I believe is what he's known from.
All it is though, it looks like a younger Henry Cavill.
Oh, that's true.
What's it? Wait, what was the name?
David Cornsweet.
Wow.
I know. Just it's fine.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, he looks like a young Henry Cavill.
I mean,
Yep,
that's why
absolutely.
people are putting that name out, but it doesn't have to look like a young Henry Cavill. It's not like
I mean, it doesn't have to be Henry Cavill.
It doesn't have to be a prequel.
Yeah.
It's not like a prequel or anything.
Staggerford, the 49 super chat goes 100% agree. Warner Brothers should have more films with lesser known DC heroes. I think the reason they keep using heroes like Batman is because that's it. That is literally the only reason. Right now, the top. What are you gonna say about this corn sweat person? Does he make your core in sweat?
I mean, look.
He doesn't do much for me, but maybe he does something for Andy.
Look, were I gay?
No, he's not doing
absolutely, but I'm not. So
he's not doing anything for me. But
okay.
I will say this: he is more. When I see him, like when I see those eyes, I think very much Bruce Wayne than anything.
Oh, maybe more of a Bruce Wayne. Yeah,
I can see that.
Staggervore is talking about Batman making more money. So here's the deal: if you go and you look on any list, unless it's changed recently, the top 3 most profitable, marketable superheroes in the world are Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman. Those are the top 3. So what was that?
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man is number 1 by a mile.
Super
Spider-Man is like 4 times as much value globally than Batman does, and then Superman is close behind him. But that's because Spider-Man is so much more marketable. He's a character in a full mask. So you can literally market him in anything.
Especially Japanese Superman.
Japanese
Spider-Man. Oh god, that is some crazy shit.
But see, that's why I'm so concerned about the era we're in with WBD and DC Studios is how much of James Gunn's wacky ideas are they willing to put up with when there's money on the table? This is why I think the Matt Reeves Batman universe will continue to make stuff outside of that universe because that's their moneymaker. They're like, this is Batman, Joker, and Catwoman. Joker, they're like, we want to make this money. So I think they're going to give James a bit more freedom, I hope, to try some more like weird stuff maybe down the road.
I will say this: I think Superman will be a testament to what he's capable of, because I think because the thing is, you cannot do Guardians or Suicide Squad or Peacemaker in a Superman movie like that kind of tone. And like if James does it, I'll be like, I'm out. But I think that movie is gonna creatively challenge him, and I feel like if he can show that he can get the character of Superman and that he can do it like not as a comic but as like a straight up DC movie the way it's supposed to be, then I'm not going to be as nervous. I'm not nervous even right now. I'm cautiously optimistic, but like if I see Superman doing like a freaking fart joke, I'll be like, James, sweet honey, this is not it.
Yeah.
James, homeboy, what are you doing, bro?
I will say, as much as I enjoyed Thor: Love and Thunder, I understand why that tip of scales for people. Yes. I understand why it triggered people,
especially when it went with the whole Gore the God Killers series. Because I actually read that comic. That is a very serious comic series, and it went like super comic with that. So I'm like,
I don't want to spoil the movie because some people really haven't. What did you say, Andy?
Gore had his own comic.
Yeah.
He's such a big character that he had his own comic, and that's all they did with him in the movie.
Yes.
And with Christian.
Yeah, Gore the God Killer had his own series with Thor, with him just literally killing guys, and it's like they went super comical with it.
I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody.
This isn't it.
It is what it is, but I think the beginning of it, I thought they were going to go with that, like, oh, we're going to go darker type thing, and then it just kind of went full silly.
Yeah, they went to because of freaking Thor Ragnarok. Granted, I love Thor Ragnarok.
I think Thor Ragnarok was the perfect blend of Taika's style with Marvel. I think that is the best Thor movie.
But for Gore the God Killer, no, you do not do Gore's comic. You made Thor a joke here and there.
Super comfortable with Taika and said, we're going to let you do what you want, and then that's what they got. So
they went way too comical with Gore. You can't do comedy with Gore.
So
he's way too serious.
Sean says, what will Snyderverse fans do if James Gunn stays at WB? The same thing they're doing right now. I mean, it'll just continue to be the same stuff. I think we've gotten to a point where the extreme Snyder fans and the actual comic book fans have broken off. I said this on Twitter. I feel like people that are fans of Zack Snyder love the DC stuff when Zack Snyder does it, but outside of that, they don't want to see anything. So
I would never be in a. I would love to see more D stuff from Zach, but I've been on the record always saying that I don't want when the DC was getting started, I didn't want it to just be from Zach. I want to be from various filmmakers and whatnot. At this point, when it comes to Snyderverse, I would just love it if they can just finish it in comic form or something like that. Because obviously Zach is busy; he's thriving over Netflix, which God bless for him and Deborah Snyder. They deserve it.
Yeah.
But if he and James can make something happen in a couple of years from now, why not? But I'm at a point, but I will never stand at a point like I'm not gonna watch anything DC if it's not from Zack Snyder. That's never gonna be, because otherwise, then what the fuck am I doing the Flash podcast?
Well, my issue is, how can you criticize content that you're not watching?
Exactly, and I think that's ridiculous.
So
and
I always find
bombing
these
is
people that
horrible.
do like 4-hour streams dissecting a movie they never even watched. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you're hearing secondhand people's accounts of something. If you really want to criticize something, go and watch it and then come back and talk about it. Otherwise, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'll never understand that. Oh, that movie sucks so bad. Did you see the movie? No, because it's not Zack Snyder. How do you know it sucks? Because other people told you? It's ridiculous. All right.
It's ridiculous. I agree.
Thomas Scott with the £5 super chat. Do you think the other Ezra Flash in the Flashpoint movie revealed as the villain, aka Reverse Flash at the end? Could they do without the Reverse Flash? You know, I don't really know anymore. I know they said one is an slightly older version of Barry Allen, and that, you know, obviously that's the world where the one that's wearing the Batman suit that's been turned into a Flash suit. So there's that. I have no idea. I don't want that version of the Flash to be Reverse Flash, though. I feel like Reverse Flash needs to be one of the ones from the actual comics, because otherwise we're setting ourselves up for a really bad, like, I just don't want to see the direction of that. I don't know. Do you guys have any opinions about Reverse Flash, or what's going to be happening with the villain of the Flash movie? Any thoughts on that, or no?
I don't really watch the DC shows but I mean, I like Reverse Flash in the comics. I thought he was cool.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want to see like Barry Allen as a Reverse Flash. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
No. It should be Engelbart. Nah.
Yeah. All right.
And you know what? I don't think that I was always thinking that this was going to be the Flashpoint that reboots the DCU, but I was thinking it doesn't even have to reboot the whole thing. You could just end like normally, because, you know, like Aquaman and Shazam 2, Peacemaker 2, those are still going on. So it doesn't have to be a complete reboot.
Yeah. I feel like, so I said this over at twitch.tv/XReloaded. I said that I believe what we're going to see with like the Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, Peacemaker, Flash, is we will still get remnants of that as Elseworld stories.
Yeah.
But I think what James is doing with the Superman movie is he's basically setting up a brand new shared universe. So you're right. I don't think Flash has to actually reboot anything. I think it could totally just be its own thing. And if they just never want to use Ezra again as Barry, they could just move on without that character. So, all right.
I'm gonna say no comment on the Reverse Flash stuff. You will find out on June 16th, 2023.
So we have a super chat from Ben Rayner, 998 super chat. He goes, "My favorite crossover was Invasion. It was the first fully crossover like Avengers and MCU. I have fond memories of Invasion. I love the fact they went with aliens, which is, you know,
weird villains, but yeah,
they were. But I think what Invasion did was it actually showed us what that world was capable of. Like that with the right. Okay, I don't think they get enough credit. Look, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and shill a little bit for the Arrowverse and like everybody. What they do to make those crossovers happen is unprecedented in TV. I'm talking like even the big networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, they did something on the CW that the bigger networks could never do.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Mm-hmm.
They've tried with other shows. What they did in the Arrowverse is something that not only had never really been done in TV before, but it transcended what the movies are capable of, because we had access to all of these shows. They're like 4 and 5 hour movies, basically, is what they are, on the budget of individual TV shows, with different writers writing episodes, different directors directing episodes to make one cohesive story across like 4 and 5 different shows.
And numerous crews. I will, because I've had friends who worked on various of those crossover, and like that. Of course, the thing they've said to me are confidential. I'm not gonna repeat it, but I will say that the fact that I cannot imagine one human being going through all that. Like, now, whether or not the storylines are good or not, that's a complete separate question. But the fact that all the directors, all the writers, all the producers, all the crew members, all the scheduling that has to go into it, Warner Brothers' commitment, the CW's commitment, it is, again, whether we like the said crossover or not, this is some of the most ambitious stuff that I, as a journalist, have ever heard from production whatsoever on television. So if that makes me a chill, then guess what? Me and EJ, we are the chillers of the multiverse.
I mean, love it or hate it, there's going to be people out there that just talk shit about the Arrowverse all day, and that's fine. But you cannot tell me that any other universe has done what the Arrowverse has done. It's just not. It's
the
untrue.
Fact that these Arrowverse crossovers have been more favored than the entire build up to the Defenders, that says something.
Yeah,
because the Defenders, they just came and went.
Yeah, because of the fact that it was so contained. The Arrowverse was here's the deal: the Arrowverse without access, because keep in mind, the Arrowverse is was kind of in the same position the MCU was back in Phase 1. They had access to second tier characters, with the exception of the Flash, like Green Arrow, Supergirl.
Green Arrow, I would say Green Arrow is kind of a A-list character, though.
I don't think Green Arrow would be as popular if it wasn't for Stephen Amell's portrayal of Green Arrow. I think that he's kind of made that character popular.
I think I would argue that Smallville is what made Arrow even possible, because this was the first time we saw Green Arrow live.
I wouldn't argue against that. I think you're absolutely right about that. I think
but Steven also, of course, played a huge part in that. But
as much as I love Justin, I think if people talk about Green Arrow, they're immediately going to think of Steve. Majority of people are going to think of Steve.
Oh, of course. I mean, he did it for almost a decade.
Even though it was almost Justin's show, but that's a whole stream for another thing there. So
no. It was never his show. There was a different Arrow spinoff, Green Arrow spinoff with Lois that they were going to do, but for him, for Arrow, that was never happening. There
was actually an interview that I did where I covered in a video where they said in the interview that they had originally courted the idea of making it a Justin Hartley show.
That's weird. They would lie about that.
Well, I pulled it directly from
no, not you. They
apparently what was it? It was Stephen DeKnight, or Stephen S. DeKnight. The guy, the showrunner of Daredevil, who was going to do this originally, said that they had originally thought it was going to be like a mini Justice League type series with
but that's separate. That was separate.
Justin Hartley being the Green Arrow of that universe, or basically the spinoff of that universe.
There was two spinoffs we were working on.
But what was the other one then? If that
there was one with Green Arrow and Lois, and then there was one that was essentially Justice League but without Superman.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Either way, though, I do believe Smallville walked so the Arrowverse could run. Basically, is the way it worked.
Run Arrowverse, run.
Well, it wasn't an Arrow show specifically. It was a Justice League type show from Smallville. Like, if you remember that Smallville episode with the quote unquote Justice League in it, that was going to be the show, basically.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that Justice League of America TV pilot aired?
Oh, we should watch that on Twitch one night. I wonder if I could get away with that, because I don't know if I could or not, but it's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's like, it is so, I mean, it's so bad, but it's also so funny at the same time.
It is.
It's essentially Parks and Rec.
Wow. Yeah, Steven. I think it's Stephen S. DeKnight. Is that right, or am I just adding letters?
No. That is him. He did Spartacus, and he's an awesome dude.
Really. So, all right, we have another super chat here from Ben Rayner. I want to make sure. I think I had all of them highlighted here. I believe so, because we're going to wrap up in about 10 minutes. Let's do 10 more minutes.
Oh, okay.
Well, we'll see. If people want to super chat, we'll stay on a little bit longer, but if people have to go, I get it.
Before you read this, I gotta go. So okay, but you guys, thanks for having me on, and you guys have a Merry Christmas. It's already Christmas, bro. Your upcoming Christmas. All right,
thank you for joining us, and I'll have you join again at some time. So enjoy your night.
Cool. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, Ben Rayner with a $9.99 super chat. Also, when Barry and Oliver showed up on Clark's farm in Elseworlds, we heard Smallville theme. It gave me goosebumps and chills perfection. And I know, Omega, you're like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I'll be honest. Like, I know that we kind of got leaks about that. Like, before it came, there were some leaks that came out about that happening, but nobody knew for sure. But the one thing I loved about Elseworlds was just the amount of like lore and stuff that we got from Elseworlds, and then all of that leading into Crisis, where we got even more of that. I actually think the reception to Elseworlds is what caused so much like their drive to get so many old properties and bring them into the Arrowverse.
Essentially like a backdoor pilot almost for Crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I defended Crisis like Elseworlds like crazy because like I was like, how can you all not love this? Like when John Wesley's ship shows up and he's talking about Earth 90 and like, John, you're not wearing your ring here. Things must be different here. Or, like, can you pull up the image from like that from that when Earth 90 is about to be destroyed? Like, look at all the references in there because it is freaking phenomenal. Because I remember like gasping, being like, they're not getting away with this. How do they do this? I also, but I am kind of hope at some point that Warner Brothers will re-release these crossovers and as like movies and on special DVDs, like almost like one supercut, like a one DVD like Blu-ray set with all the crossover, but edited as movies. Because it's exhausting having to go like, okay, I'm on Netflix watching Supergirl, Arrow, Fly. Oh, now I have to go to HBO Max to watch the Batwoman part and stuff like that. That's not really fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Elseworlds. Like
it's probably hard to see. I'll blow it up here though.
Like look at all those, like how they pulled so many costumes, so many cameras. I don't understand how the hell they got away with all that.
All right, so up here at the top we have Stargirl and Huntress ? I believe it is Huntress.
Looks like
we have Firestorm, Hawkman. Who is this here in the purple there? I don't know who that is.
Can you zoom in a little more?
Yeah.
No idea.
I don't know who that is either.
Looks like a purple brain.
Does anybody know who that's supposed to be in the chat? I don't know. So we had Firestorm, Hawkman. It might be Dove, or it just might be a purple light, but it might be Dove. It looks like a cape on the back of it. Jesse Quick, the Ray's helmet, Captain Cold. I guess that's supposed to be Hawk Girl over there. Hawkman, Smallville's Green Arrow, which I thought was really interesting here. But just the fact, and look, John Wesley Shipp in his OG Flash costume. Well, it's not the real one because he's talked about that one being really gross and stinky, but it's a replica of the OG suit. So Malik,
I just
Captain Cold, but I don't know.
There's one website that said that they think they saw Brainiac 5 somewhere in there.
Maybe that's it. Like, maybe.
The one with the purple. They believe that's supposed to be the Captain Cold from John Wesley Shipp's TV show.
Oh, okay, all right, got it.
Which was like so cool. Like all these heroes ended up existing.
But just think how many of them actually showed up in the crossover. So again, I'm going to shill for them. I feel like what they did on the crossover is too massive to overlook for fans. Honestly.
I don't think it's chilling at all. I think credit is due where credit is due. Because.
So Laura says she thinks that Crisis had too many cameos for her taste. So.
I can respect. I mean, I disagree. I think the crossover were. I think there's a few more they could have worked in there because I think that in the end, like giving a little nod to what has come before, I don't think that takes up story time and storylines and whatnot. Like for example, the one criticism I can give Crisis is we didn't really need that Monitor backstory. As much as I love the fact that Mark Wolfman got to come in and write it, and then got to cameo the next episode. But I feel like the backstory was not really needed.
I did like him as the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor, though. I liked him.
I love Monitor is one of the best Arrowverse costumes we've ever had, and that costume is also like that doesn't look easy to wear.
No, Robert says he could have done with more cameos. So there we go. All right, couple more topics before we go. If you guys have any super chats you want to support a little bit, please send them in because we've got to wrap things up. But I want to point this out. Black Adam news. Get ready. More Black Adam news. Actually, saw this today. Actually, yesterday. Black Adam's reshoots after a poor test screening increased the budget from 190 to 260 million.
I saw that.
What?
Jeez.
So that means the actual movie before advertising was 260 million? I couldn't really find whether this is true or false because it is a rumor. But if that's the case, it was almost a $300 million movie before advertising.
And how much did they make off of that?
Oh, let's not talk about that. I think they're barely at 400 million. But look, I want to point this out because people were talking about it, like thinking that I was having a field day with the whole Black Adam thing. I was a proponent of Black Adam when the movie.
Yeah, I was hoping that was going to be good.
I was like, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a good action film. I thought it was great for representation. And Andy and I talked about it on stream, and I had a very favorable response to Black Adam. I was actually shocked that it didn't make more money. That was my thing. I thought it was a $600 to $700 million film, personally. So I don't know what happened. My only issue is that I said people who were talking about, oh, they're making this movie for the fans. If a movie doesn't make money and you say it's for the fans, think about that for a second. Like, does that mean the fans don't want to see it? I think there was other issues here with Black Adam that we just can't figure out. But I will say that it sucks because I think that The Rock did, in my opinion, a really good job as Black Adam. And I like the idea of the JSA. So I don't know. There's a lot of people that wanted to see it fail. It's their prerogative, I guess.
Well, go touch some grass, then. If that's
touch grass.
I love Black Adam so much. I mean, this is still hurting me.
And you got a shout out from The Rock on Twitter.
I listen.
Really?
Yeah, pull it up if you want, Eric. It's fine.
Yeah, let me go find it quickly. Talk about what sparked it, because I know your tweet.
It was from having covered all, because as people know, I work for Screen Rant, and I cover a lot of the DC news over there, and it had gone to a point with with all these updates and announcements and cancellations and so on, that I like when Dwayne posted it, that was kind of like my breaking point, and because I really love Black Adam. If people had issues with it, it's fine. We can have different opinions, but for me, that movie did something for me, because as a Middle Eastern, I don't get to have a lot of representation because people label us as
if anything, you guys are like the villain or whatever.
Either we're low life citizens in media, or we are the villains that because again, what happened in 2001? Because I'm trying not to get Eric in trouble, but what happened in 2001 really, as heartbreaking as it is, it changed the view of Middle Easterns forever.
Yeah.
So
here's Andy's tweet. He was talking about being empowered and thanking The Rock and people involved for making the movie. This comes after his tweet. We talked about this last week, his message to the fans. And then he responded to Andy with, "An honor to read this and privileged to have a small part in your culture DNA empowerment. It's a big deal, brother. Thank you for sharing." And I thought that was great. That The Rock took the time out of his day to actually write directly back to Andy over this tweet. And it must have made you feel good. I see your response there on the screen, but it must have made you feel good to know that you were giving some praise, and then you got that reciprocation from the driving force behind the film. I mean, because Dwayne Johnson had been working on this since 2007. It's been over a decade, like he's been working on it.
And I know, and I will say this because I know some people got angry at me that how can you support a movie that features Egyptian character but not played by an Egyptian? I will say this movie would never have happened if it wasn't for Rock. I'm sorry to say that. I understand the issues with the ethnicity part of it, but at the same time, there's no one in Egyptian or Middle Eastern culture that is as famous as Rock that could have taken a character like Black Adam that no one, like the mainstream audience, they don't know, and made that film happen. You think Warner would have put up with an actor who wasn't in Rock for 15 years to make this film happen? Nah, bro. It's but also it's not just about Black Adam, it's about the empowerment of the people of conduct. Like I know that everyone loves the JSA, which I did too, but like they're also very problematic in this movie because they are essentially, hold on, let me ask Eric in private if I can even say this. Can I say that?
Let me see. Yeah, go ahead.
They're American cops.
Yeah,
they're like some of those terms that Black Adam that Hawkman is using. Where have we heard those terms?
Yeah, I mean, they wrote that specifically for that reason. You could hear it in the way the writing was.
And when Adriana Thomas dragged the JSA's asses for filth, like, where were you during this occupation for the last 2 decades? And now you decide to come and help us. So no, like for me, like I'm a Persian, so people need to know there's shit going on in Iran that I am devastated about. Just because I don't tweet about it doesn't mean that I don't care. I do care.
Right.
So this movie came at a very right time for me, and I'm hoping for any Middle Eastern out there that needs to see themselves empowered. Because what we were alluding to before,
and it's on HBO Max. So
it's
go
on
watch
HBO
it.
Max. Yeah. So I was broken by Des, and I'm hoping that maybe in the future, if James Gunn comes to his senses, he will reach out to Dwayne. They will find something to work on together.
Well, it sounded to me like as of right now, there's nothing going on, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen later. And I know that a lot of people said they would love to see The Rock come back as Shazam in like maybe a Crisis movie or an Elseworlds movie. I still think that's possible. But right now, I'm just going to be straight up my feelings about the whole DC Studios. They are in save money, make hits. That's what that is their mentality right now. And so we're not going to see a lot of risky stuff from them over the next 5 years. I think we're going to see stuff where they are very stuff that they're very sure that's going to make them money. So I expect a lot of Batman stuff. I expect a lot of Superman stuff. And I expect them to push very hard on like characters that they think they're going to get a big return on. Because think of Marvel Phase 1. That's kind of what we're going back to with DC. As much as I hate that we've wasted like a decade, that's what we're going back to with DC.
I would say wasted, because at the end of the day, like, we have these movies and we got, they happened. Like, yes, did it lead to some sort of endgame like Avengers Endgame? I promise I was trying to be punny. I just ran out of words. No, it didn't necessarily. But we had a lot of good movies that now, like, you can buy on Blu-ray and DVD or watch on streaming.
Well, there's a lot of movies that I think are good standalone movies. I think the first Wonder Woman movie, if you take out the connection to the bigger universe, is fantastic. I think Aquaman, if you disconnect it from the rest of it, is fantastic. So I think we have some great standalone movies. I just feel like we had more there to work with, and it got muddied up by studio meddling, and that's my biggest complaint about.
And it does feel like they're about to go into their own phase, or I will use something different that DC fans will be more familiar with. I think that they're doing their first graphic novel.
Oh,
and with interludes directed by the Black Label. I would love if Eric did something with the movies. I know I would know exactly which property I want him to do. I might actually tell him next time.
I will say this, and we have one more super chat. I'm going to answer that, and then we're going to do our goodbyes. But I feel like James Gunn, as long as the studio doesn't interfere, we'll at least get to see what a full concept is going to look like, because we may get what has he got, like 4 years? He's locked in for like 4 years, I think.
Yeah.
It's 4 or 5. I don't remember. It's like 4 years. Anyway, 4 years. He will have the opportunity to make at least, like, I would say 5 to 6 movies in that time. So I hope that that we get to see that. Somebody wanted me to
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. I was to say somebody wanted me to talk about something else. So give your opinion, then I'm going to look this up.
And also, it also helps that this time we had someone also like Peter Safran, who's been an executive producer, who's been involved with a lot of successful DC movies. So business-wise, I think there's some good decisions coming. Like, I think them to get together, I think it's going to be a good team. Like, again, I am cautiously optimistic because I think sometimes James Gunn's creative style doesn't always hit with me, but like the Guardian special that came out last month, like that got to me. I'm like, if we can have DC stories like that, it is, it can have fun, it can have a little darkness, it can have a little more seriousness and so on, but we can have everything of all the best world. I think that would be great.
Yeah. Hero's Journey with a $2 super chat. My 2023 goal is to team up with Eric. Well, I appreciate your super chat, and we'll see if we can make it happen. A good time to team up with me is going to be at the end of January and the beginning of February, when I have a lot less to actually do. But thank you so much.
This is a joke, right? This cannot be real.
Okay, so you haven't seen this yet? You didn't hear about this?
Wait.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I'm not going to read the article, but several people had been asking me about it, and I did a whole thing over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Eric's Reloaded. Did a whole thing over on Twitch, but we'll talk about it here as well. So apparently there was a movie with Ana de Armas in it. I don't remember what the movie was, unfortunately. Never heard of it. But the movie, she was used in a trailer for the movie at some point in time, but then her character was cut out of the movie. So she was in the trailer, but then the movie came out. She wasn't in the movie. And some people specifically rented the film based on the trailer that showed her in it. Now, I've done a little bit of digging on this as well as I do. And apparently the issue was it was on VOD and it was the trailer that was being shown before you rent a movie. Right? So they saw her in the movie, in the trailer, and then they proceeded to rent the movie because they're a fan of her. But then she wasn't in the movie. Could you imagine you're watching a trailer and you see an actor you really like, and then you rent the movie and you watch the whole movie and then that actor's not in the movie? That's like false advertising, basically. So what has happened here is, and people say, oh, is this a definitive ruling? It's not. So all this judge said was that there was merit to the argument that having a person, an actor featured in a trailer when they're not in the film is something that he's going to allow to move forward. So the case is going to move forward. That's what has been ruled here. And he specifically said there were two things that he wanted to make clear about this. It's about actors appearing in trailers when they're not in the movies and scenes that are specifically used in the trailers to lure people into the films. That was the two things he said. Again, this is still an ongoing thing. It's not, nothing has been decided here. It's just like he said, okay, we can move forward. People are going crazy about Marvel and DC or whatever, because there's a lot of creative process to this. My only issue with this is, because I don't have a problem with people being held accountable for featuring actors who are not going to be in movies, right? My only issue is an advertising cycle for a film can sometimes start up to a year before the movie comes out for a lot of bigger movies. So say, for example, I have Chris Evans in a supporting role in my movie, and I release that first trailer, and he's in that first trailer. And then about 4 months into the filming process, we decide that Chris Evans cannot, for some reason, move forward. So he has to be let go, and we have to replace him with another actor. So then we release another trailer. Are we liable for that first trailer, even though we've released another trailer that shows that Chris Evans is not in the movie? That's kind of the slippery slope with this ruling, is what is the cutoff date for this? How are they going to determine what is real and what isn't? Because trailers don't want to give away too much, but they also have to advertise the movie.
Yeah, and even when it comes to like a lot of the Marvel movies, they will straight up lie to you and just get you into the just to get you into the seat, but not completely spoil the movie. Like I actually respect them from doing that, just mainly because it gets you excited for the movie, but it doesn't tell you what's going to happen in the movie. Because a lot of spoilers, especially when it comes to like mostly with a lot of Japanese games, they will straight up tell you what's going to happen in the movie, or what's going to happen in the game. Like with like say like near the end, it's like, well, you just told me exactly in the trailer what's
so here's the other issue I have with this. So Andy, and I'm going to point to you in this one, and then I want to hear your opinion about it. A lot of times with like TV trailers, this happens all the time. They'll have like a scene where Barry will use the Flash.
Oh, TV trailer as a TV trailer, as if for a TV show, not TV. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So Barry runs into a room and he goes, "Oh my God!" And then it cuts to a scene with like Iris like covered in blood or something, and then it cuts back to a scene of Barry going, "I can't believe that she's gone." Right? Those three scenes may be completely disconnected in the episode, but in that trailer, they're represented as one scene together. According to this ruling, that scene would be considered misleading and people could sue for that. So how are creative people supposed to advertise for TV shows and movies when they can't even try and sort of play a red herring? Because you could say a mystery is misleading. You could say I'm watching a TV show and they made it look like one person was the killer and then the other person wasn't. Is that misleading? Are you misleading the consumer by doing that? Like, at what point does it become just advertising and false advertising? That's the question.
Yeah, I think the problem with it is that, I mean, because movie and TV shows, movie and TV is such different situations, and I will start with the movies. But movies, because something unexpected can happen sometimes, like either a scandal comes out about an actor and it's that we can't, in good faith, promote this actor.
What if Ezra Miller got replaced? You know what I mean?
DZ, are you watching? Are you listening? But what I will say is that so much unexpected things can happen by the time the movie comes out. But between the time the first trailer is released and the movie actually hits theaters, so much can happen.
Yeah.
Which is why there was a lot of criticism about early in the year. There was the reports about the VFX houses not being treated well by Marvel Studios, and like how last minute it will come to them and be like, we're changing basically something in the third act or whatever, because for some reason they just decide to let's just do something different. And so I think that, yes, I do. Again, because you said that this is still like a trial and process. This law hasn't like really been passed yet, I guess.
Yeah, they're still waiting to. Yeah, it's going to move on to the next phase, which is where they'll continue to like either appeal it or, nothing has been decided yet. It's basically the judge has said this, and this is moving on to the next phase. So
this is what a weird thing to do, like to go to trial about. Like this actor wasn't in this movie that I watched. My life is over.
Right.
Okay. It's weird.
So Ragu's saying here is my only issue with this is, and this is my only issue with it, is that if you're advertising something on VOD and you know that she's not in the movie, then she should be removed from the VOD trailer. Like, I truly believe that. But I think that is something that needs to be addressed with the provider and not the studio. Like, if your TV provider that you're renting it from is running an old trailer that has someone in it that has been replaced, then that's a problem. Now, if the trailer was the one that was provided by the studio, which it might have been, I don't know, that wasn't mentioned anywhere in there, then that's an issue. It's a slippery slope. I was gonna say stickily slope, slippery slope. Because like this scene right here, apparently this scene was going to be in the movie, and then they decided to do something different because of the Hulk story that got changed. Mm-hmm. So now are they held accountable for this scene, even though creatively they went in a different direction? Like, I
make it make sense. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you're going to, like, this is going to be lawsuit world. Like, there's going to be so many ways this is interpreted that it's going to be bad for everyone. So my theory was, I was like, there's three things that can happen here, right? One of them is that they just don't release regular trailers for films. No. You get like a bunch of like really static shots with a teaser, and that's it. No actual trailer. Or the second one is that they release clips from these movies that they know 100% are going to be in them, and those will be the trailers. Or what I think the most likely thing to happen, and Omega will get this because video games.
Oh, yes.
They'll release something and then it'll either say subject to change or this footage doesn't represent the final product. Yep. Something will be a disclaimer in there so that once you're done watching it in the fine print, just to cover their asses, it'll say this footage is from an early build or this is something along those lines so that they are not held accountable. That's all that's going to happen.
Yeah,
I believe that is the easiest way for them to not have to worry about this.
Because a lot of times, because as an avid gamer, a lot of times we'll see in a lot of game trailers like in engine. It's like basically what that means is it's using the same engine that the game uses, but it's so polished and so what's the word I'm looking for? It's basically so polished and so streamlined for it to look good in the trailer. Right. What you actually get in the game, may look completely different.
But
a lot of times that happens so much in the game
industry. This is going to be even worse for consumers because if they decide they want to release a trailer 2 years before a movie, they can put together like some VFX concept shit, throw that out and put like, this doesn't represent the final thing.
Yep.
And then they can put anything they want in the trailer. So this lawsuit is just going to make it worse.
Yeah.
Just like in the game industry, they'll have a completely CGI trailer, which was basically they make it look like Pixar level CGI. Look beautiful. The actual game you get looks like trash.
Mobile games are very
prevalent. Oh god, yes. That's what a lot of people are saying. Like, oh god, mobile game developers are going to be sweating in their boots with this if this actually goes.
I'm going to keep an eye on this story to see what happens. But I can tell you right now, the most logical thing, because they're not going to stop releasing trailers. That is an option. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to put out more clips because that seems like it's counterproductive to the business. The most likely thing is a stupid disclaimer at the end of the trailer that says that the footage you just watched does not represent the final product.
The law has to be very specific on this, but you're not because these judges are like 80 years old. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't know what the hell they're looking at.
All right, last super chat, and then I've got to go to work. So it says Thomas Scott,
wow.
£2 super chat goes, did you see Knives Out 2? I loved it. It's out now. I have not seen it, but I loved the first one.
Me too.
So I'm definitely
Haven't
excited
seen the
about
first
this
or the
one.
second one.
You haven't seen either of them?
You would love it.
I haven't seen either of them.
It's really good.
Okay.
So I'm definitely going to check it out probably tomorrow because we're going to have a chill day tomorrow. So we're going to watch this, and I'm going to watch the new Pinocchio, which I believe is out as well. The one from Guillermo del Toro, I believe.
It looks pretty cool.
I've heard really good things about it. So anyway, yeah, both are out on Netflix, and I'm very excited about that. But thank you so much for the super chat. All right, before we go, I want to give a shout out to Kada. Thank him so much for coming in. I know he's not here, but here's a shout out when he comes back to watch the end of it, because I'm pretty sure he will. Hope you had a good time. Happy holidays to him. Shout out to Andy over here for hanging out on the stream with us. I do appreciate it. Hope you have a great holiday. And yeah, and then we have Omega, who is, people have been asking you to come back. Well, guess what? You came back. Like, here you are. I don't know if any of those people are in the chat, but here he is. Here's Omega. Which, by the way, we Final Fantasy 14.
Yes, they have a new
the new patch
coming out. Yes,
yeah, I'm excited about that. So I might stream that.
We
on
get
Twitch.
to fight the Fury. Oh, dude, let me know if you want to go through that whole what's it, that Alliance raid. If let me know, I will join.
Okay, we might do that. I might do that on twitch.tv/xrelated. Anyway,
or Omega Veltal, or twitch.tv/Omega Veltal, or DeviantArt/Omega Veltal.
Oh, there we go. And Andy's Flash podcast. Just
I stream on Twitch, but I stream Valorant. I don't play.
I had my first raid on Twitch.
You threw me off. I was telling the people I was in Discord with, like, hey guys, just so you know, we just got raided, and they're like, wait, what?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was so sweet of you.
Yeah. So a couple things at the end of January is I'm going to be doing more streams, more videos. I will be probably DJing on Twitch, which will be quite interesting.
24 hours.
24 hours a day. But definitely you'll be getting more content on both places, like here on YouTube and on Twitch. So thank you so much for your support. If you're a Team Eric member, which by the way, I started uploading Twitch clips for Team Eric members. So if you're a Team Eric member, you will get clips from the Twitch streams even after they're deleted from the channel. They'll be up here on YouTube for you to check out. So if you haven't seen that yet, go look at the exclusive playlist, and it should be on that playlist as well. So there we go. That's pretty much it. Happy holidays to everyone. Merry Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas. Hope you get everything that you want, and we're out of here. See everyone later. Have a great night.